What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Thursday night edition. It's April 11th, 2024. The Phillies have started. The Sixers are ready for their playoff run. The Flyers trying to push for the playoffs, and the Eagles getting ready for that NFL draft. You know what time it is. It's time to do fourth and go. Philly 4-4. So much more. I'm Dave Gleckner. That's Marc Tomasini. What's up, brother?
What up? What up? I am Sixered up. I'm excited to get into that. I see you got the new City Connect hat. Obviously, you're in on it pretty quickly. Gotta say, I like the hat. I really do like the hat. We'll get to more of that. But
The best part is the hat's the best part. But I will tell you, all right, let's just get into it. The City Connect jerseys rolled out last Friday, and they come in hot tomorrow as the Phillies are going to wear them for the first time on Friday, playing the Pittsburgh Pirates. I will tell you, I hated them the first time they leaked. Whether it was a China view, whatever was coming out, I didn't like them. I'm going to tell you, I don't hate them as much anymore.
Right.
I like the color scheme. The hat, obviously, with the Liberty Bell stars, and plus the city silhouette, like the skyscrapers, skyline. Yeah. I think that's sweet. The jersey color scheme is actually pretty sweet. I just don't like the font. I think that's where I landed on. I got my son. He was like all hyped up, and he had some money. I said, all right, I'm going to get you. I got him a Trey Turner. The fucking number's a question mark. It's not a 7.
Right.
That's embarrassing. But everything else, I'm cool, because we're gonna laugh about it. But that's where I'm at. I'm actually at I dig, but I'm not. I dig the color scheme now. I dig the way they've mixed in the Philly traditions and landmarks. I just don't love the graffiti fun.
Yeah, I'm actually on a similar page as you. The one thing I don't love, I love the navy. I think they should have went navy all the way up.
Yeah.
Making it, one of those.
Good point. That faded. Yeah.
The font, and they should have just went all navy from top to bottom, because it's like 3/4 of the way. You might as well go all the way and change the font. Even if you just do it to the Phillies font, I don't care. If you just put the Phillies font there, you still have the colors, and you do the blue and yellow outline on the Phillies font, and or even the colors, kind of like the hat scheme, like the way you have it on the hat, have that color, have that light blue in Phillies with a little yellow and
I like that idea.
Do that. It's all navy, and I think you have more of it's not as jarring. Just really, the font is the biggest thing, but I like all navy.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. I get why they tried to mix in this blue, because I guess it's part of the city flag. Listen, it was a nice try. I think Harper came out and said he was thinking it was being red, green, and black, maybe like a fanatic type look to it. And I think that we'll see something like that down the road.
Eventually,
and I'm okay with the new age font. It's just I think the numbers are the ones that I hate the most. I can live with a little bit of the letters, but I think I hate the number. And I like the word Philly. I actually like we it's different. We have Phillies. Philly. I like that part.
But just done Philly in the Philly font, just
that
that
would be cool. Yeah.
Kind of like that. Yeah.
And then the 2 stars that are yellow. Yeah. Look, we could have helped them out, bro.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I remember being like, I hate these, they're awful, but I've definitely come around on them more. I definitely see where they were going and can understand better. It's the font. The font is the biggest thing. I could live with the blue transition that I was talking about, but the one thing is just the numbers and then the front font. Those in that order.
Yeah, but hey, we're gonna see him loud and proud tomorrow, and I'm excited to see how it looks out.
I was just going to say the same thing. I really think, because the thing is, I like the Phillies uniforms, but they're very plain. I mean, they just played in their powder blues tonight and stuff like that, and that's an older.
They're sick. The powder blues are sick.
Yeah. And I like their burgundy too that they did. The one where McCutcheon is in the glasses and stuff like that. I almost wish that they switched between the powder blues and the burgundies. And I'm not a red guy, but it definitely works. But this is
get rid of the gray. The gray's so dull. Pinstripes, I get it. Even the cream you could get rid of anymore. I'm with you. Bring back the burgundies as your regular road jersey or something.
Right. I agree. I think I think the best thing about this is the first time that they're wearing something new and really different that we've never seen.
Since the cream. which was what, like when they opened the stadium like
right
20 years ago.
Yeah, but that even to me was just like it's a cream version of the gray uniform. Like I know they tried. Like this is the first real like jarring change that they've done. And I think even though like I know like for our lifetimes we've mostly grown up in, the gray and the pinstripe, but even looking back at the 80s and, their schemes there, this is the first real jarring change that we've seen from this team, in general.
I agree.
Really.
So they went
pretty interesting to see what it looks like playing baseball in it.
Yeah, they went pretty drastic, which is cool. Like I'm gonna dig it. Let's see it tomorrow.
Right.
But for the most part, the hat I think is the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait to see it with the pants and the cleats and the belt and everything. So
yeah.
I'm excited for tomorrow. Let's do a little love hate right now. The Phillies have opened the season now 7-6, and listen, better than probably they have in the past couple of years. Still not great, but 7-6 we will take. Especially starting 2-4, losing the first 2 series of the year. They won the next 2 on the road and now started tonight's 4-game series with a win against the 9-3 Pirates. So 7-6, good. I'll start with one thing I love. You give me one thing you love, and then we'll get to the hate. One thing I love right now is the starting pitching. Unfortunate that Zach Wheeler doesn't have a win yet because he's been awesome. But Ranger Suarez going out there, he's 2-0. Thank God we see him before May because he has been dominant. Sanchez, one good game, one game, but still Nola, 2 really good games, 1 bad game, and Turnbull. Unbelievable. Like in Taiwan, take your time, bro. We are good right now. I mean, we're not going to ride the Turnbull train all year like this, but we're good right now. And the starters are rolling in with like a top 5 ERA in the league. So I love the starting pitching right now.
Okay. I agree. Ranger, 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, no runs. Solid line tonight. Really good to see him doing that. Like you said, doing that this time of the year. Brandon Marsh.
That's where I would have gone. Yep.
Brandon Marsh, because the whole thing with him was, I'm trying to think, was he, when we traded for him? No, it wasn't Moniak. We got Marsh for
Hoppy.
So Syndergaard, right?
Well, they were 2 separate trades. I thought Marsh
They were.
I thought, actually, I do think Marsh was Moniak and Syndergaard was O'Hoppy. But that's
that might be it. Yeah. So, and everyone was
like, I thought it was outfield for outfield. That's the reason I thought it was that way. Yep.
And then right when Moniak first went over, he got hot.
He did.
And he was playing well. And we were seeing a little better version of Marsh, like his half year. And then last year, he was about 286 hitter, which was better than anything he did in LA. And Marsh, some people know, some people don't. He was actually a pretty high prospect for them. He was a very good player, and he had a lot of potential. But for whatever reason, which seems to be the case in LA, they waste talent with the Angels. I mean, you see Trout's out there by himself, but like they obviously can never do anything. I mean, his average was 286 for that rest of the year after the deadline. And then the same thing next year with Kevin Long. And you see what he's doing now in his second full season, essentially a full season now that he's going to have with the Phillies. And I am pounding the door that he should be an everyday starter now. I think he's earned.
I agree.
Unless you see him regress big time, especially now we're having a hole out in right field, but I'll get to that. I think Marsh has earned and deserves to go against lefties, righties, and play every day.
Yeah, I 100% agree. To this extent, you can find a way. He can play center field on certain nights. He can play left field.
Yep.
And to your point, you could probably fit him in right, but we can. Yeah, I know we're going to get there. But when I'm looking at the splits this year, he hasn't hit great against lefties. He's 182. He only had 11 at bats so far. He's tearing up righties. 3 homers. I have 4 homers now. Over 400. So, and tonight was the Oppo Boppo. He's been, outside, like Trey's been okay, but not the extra base hits. JT's been pretty good, but he's been carrying the offense. It's been 3 of them. That's about it. So I give you I think we both hit on the head with the loves here. You know what? I'm going to let the layup go to you. So I'll give you my hate and leave the other hate for you, which is obvious for all of us Phillies fans. But I'm going to tell you, I hate Kyle Schwarber in leadoff. I just hate. And, in years past, I told you, I lived with it a little bit because last year it started with Stott, but when they switched to Schwarber about 30, 40 days in, give him a little spark. And, it just – the team needed to just ride that spark. Like, it's just – we're getting to the point now. Baseball is no longer about, a lineup that's built through, top to bottom. We roll lineups over where a pitcher's at the bottom. You need a guy that at that top spot, it's so important when people are on base that he's not sitting there striking out, which is what this guy's doing. He's got a bunch of singles this year. I get it, but he's still batting right around that Mendoza line. If he gets on, he's a plug on the base path. Yeah, I just can't do it anymore. We got to find something else because this just does not freaking work for me. It's an absolute joke that we have him still sitting up there because every time I see, and it's very rare that Rojas gets on, he's stuck with Schwarber not being able to get him over or move him anywhere. Right. Back 212 this year now. After a year of 190 something. How can you win as a baseball team consistently having your leadoff hitter over a stretch of 2 years batting pretty much 200, and then we go back to 2022, 218. I know we're getting the homers. Get them when they're on base because right now these few and far betweens are killing us. Yeah. Killing us. I'm telling you, I'm done with the Schwarber at leadoff. It ain't working.
Right. I agree. If he's hitting 250, 260 consistently, I consider
with the walks. Yep.
Yeah. But it's just it's not happening right now. You're gonna hear the argument there, they have a 600 winning percentage when he's leadoff. Great.
That's it.
I feel like you can do more. And I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but if we didn't, Bryce Harper was out at that point. Ranger Suarez was out in the beginning of last year, I'm talking about. So all those things that were taking place, he came back around the same time that everybody started getting back. That's when Taiwan started pitching better, and he gave you that month of June. Remember, it was June 2nd, right, that they put him in leadoff? So everything started going gangbusters for them, and it helped. And then Turner at the end of the, in August, he turned on. So it only made it look better. So I agree with you. I'm in the camp of we need to move Schwarber down the lineup.
Yeah, I hate it.
I just hate it. Yeah.
I could get it's not like the way March is swinging. I could get him one. I mean, he's not your typical, but since he's got the most homers on the team, I probably don't want him there. But Stott, and I know Stott has been great, but he's coming around and hit a homer tonight. Let me lay it up to you. What's your hate?
Nick Castellanos' swing. His swing.
Everything. I know. His plate discipline, his swing, I'm with you. I mean, even this year, it's I think he has 6 or 7 hits, all singles, a 152.
152 average. He look, I'm a Castellanos fan. I love the way that he's played in the past, and he showed it last year what he was able to do in Cincinnati and Chicago and Detroit. But for whatever reason, he just hasn't really been able to put it together for a full season here. He looks like when he first got here. He's got a swing where the ball's not even remotely close to the plate. And I mean, we're talking he's swinging shoulder high.
Yep.
And the ball is a slider and away 2 feet from the dirt. It's one of those where you're like, what are did you just say I'm going to swing at this pitch no matter what? Is that really what I know you have in the majors? You have a split second to make a decision whether you are going to swing it or not. But I mean, it looks like he's going in blind. It really looks like he's just I'm going to throw my bat out there. If I get something great, if not, oh well. Because he's always been an aggressive hitter. That's one thing I like about him. He's going to go after it. But see, when you get into stretches like these, this is where you're a detriment to yourself and to the team.
Right. He hadn't struck out more than 152 times in his career in a season. Last year, he went for 185. Yeah. This year, he's on pace for about 170. I bet you if that pace, the way that you're watching him swing, I'm watching him swing, some ball landed 6 inches in front of the plate and he swung. So he's just out there guessing. He could get to 200 this year. Now, the only way he gets there is if the Phillies keep sticking with him. There has to be a point. I know 13 games is tough, but it's not 13 games to me. It was 7 in the Arizona series last year when he went 1 for 28. This is a combination. I watched him in the spring. He hit under 200 in the spring doing the same dumb shit. Yeah. This isn't 13 games. This is probably about 40. And it's bad. And I don't see it. I'm sorry, I don't see it changing. The swing was always an uppercut, ugly, top spin, heavy swing. And even tonight, when he got a hold of one kind of and it hooked foul, it was 30 feet short of the fence. Like, the power's not even there. It's gone. This guy just fell apart in front of our eyes. And I'll hold on for a little bit.
Yeah.
Cody Clemens was ripping the cover off the ball in spring training. There's other people that deserve a chance over this shit right now, because if you're going to actually hold on to Rojas and try and develop him, which I don't agree with, but I can live with it because the defense is there. Castellano has no defense either. Now this new scoreboard's screwing him up in right field and can't catch a ball out there that's near the fence. Like, it's awful. Every aspect of his game is atrocious. But if you're going to have a 100 hitter in Kyle Schwarber at the top, and you're going to have a 100 hitter in Rojas at the bottom, you can't have Castellanos too.
Another 100, a 150 guy. Yeah.
At least Schwarber gives you the power. At least Rojas gives you the defense. This guy gives you nothing. He has 7 singles, no extra base hits.
Yeah.
Can't play defense. Can't run. There's nothing he gives you.
Right.
I'm with you.
I give him an effort for his defense, and I think, like, especially the playoff 2 years ago, he's done it, but but he's not giving him of anything right now. No, now
the game one night by Cincy, 2 balls to the fence, and they should have called him.
He doesn't even know what he's right. He's not even like lining up with the wall and getting himself figured out. He's just like, yeah.
And he blamed the new scoreboard, whatever. But
I
do think that. Yeah, because they got a brand new one out in right field. But I want to give him the Trey Turner treatment. I do. I would like fans to stand up, try and cheer him on. Like you said, as a person, he's always been great to the kids. He always hangs around, supports the team, supports the fans. He is good in the community. He's a guy you want to cheer for, but he sucks at baseball right now. Yeah. So I want to give him the Trey Turner treatment, but I'm telling you, if it's where are we? April 11th today?
11th, yeah.
If it's May 4th, I'll give you 3 more weeks of this bullshit.
Yeah.
Something's got to be done.
I mean, or here's the thing, more to my point that Brandon Marsh should be playing every day. I think if anything, you throw Merrifield out there, give him a couple days off, just let him reevaluate. Like, I know sometimes you need to. You need to get it together and just try and hit through it and keep going through this slump. But I think he needs a break. Not that
I agree, but
physically, I think he just needs to step out of the box. It just needs to be nowhere near it.
I agree, but you want to talk about somebody that's worse than Castellanos. Whit Merrifield's right there. Batting 143 with just 3 singles, no extra base hits himself. He sucks too. So great signing there, because this guy, he's not going to get any better at 35 years old. So he's batting 143 and is giving us nothing as well. So I hear you, but I give it a break for someone else. Like I'm saying, maybe give Cody Pache. Something.
That's another right. Pache
had some good catches on against Washington on Sunday.
Yeah,
really good defensive plays. So. I'm still kind of a fan of him and want to see that develop. But
he has the potential. He was a highly touted prospect. Gotta give him a shot. You kept him on the team. Use him.
Yep. I like our 2 loves and our 2 hates, and let me just lead into this. Seeing how Cassie's playing, I don't see any way the Angels take him as part of the deal, but they'll find a way to offload him somewhere. But does it make you re-enter the talks about Mike Trout? Because it does for me. It really does. Mike Trout has like 6 homers, I think, is leading the league.
He's carrying it out. He's ripping the cover off the ball right now.
They still suck. And so the Angels could sell high. I mean, he was going to be high anyway, but now high before he gets hurt. I think you got to Yeah, I think you got to pick up the phone and reestablish those talks about Trout and Philly because it's a hole. They have a hole almost in 2 outfield positions right now.
Right. I mean, I think that I'm always going to want Mike Trout here. I mean, he's my favorite player outside of Philadelphia. He's
agreed.
Just love everything about Trout, what he does. He's being wasted out there. It's truly insane. It's a murder. It's highway robbery. The fact he's been out there for so long and they've done absolutely nothing. And, he has a Mickey Mantle-ish type career and can't, sniff the playoffs and just gets no press out there. Like it's really not that baseball can intervene, but like how they just haven't gotten anything out of him being out there. Like they can't market him because of it. They can't do anything. Now, the one thing I thought I heard is that I almost think that he doesn't want to be here because like it would be too much pressure for him being around here. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I don't.
I thought I heard something along those lines.
I just don't think he wants to ruffle feathers. I think he'd be fine playing here, but he just doesn't. He's just not that guy that's going to force a trade. That's more how it came out, and then people use that. Yeah.
Well, I hope that's the case. I hope he will want to play here. I mean, this is his hometown team. He's always here. Not hometown, but we know Millville. But yeah, I mean, of course, I'm always going to enter it. Now, I'm always just afraid that he's like one back injury away from being, on the shelf, or an injury away from being on the shelf. But then again, same thing with Bryce. So might as well just roll the dice and have both of them here and hope that at least one of them stays upright. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's not, I'm not worried about what we would give up for him. Like, even if it cost a painter or whatever, like what have you. But
I'm at the point I could give Painter. I really could. I'm not giving Painter, Abel, and Crawford and Rojas. Like, I could maybe 2 of the 4, and hopefully Rojas is one of them. That's fine.
Right. If you go Painter, Rojas,
I'm good. I know I got to give up to get something, and I totally get that. And baseball. I know baseball. Like, these prospects don't pan out 70% of the time. Like, trade them and nothing. Like, I think Painter can be something, but I'm okay. To get Mike Trout.
Right.
I'm good. Yeah. I'm good. And then maybe you need some other pieces. I get it. But if you start the talks with Painter and Rojas and fit in some other maybe younger pieces, I think you could get there.
Because the one thing I was thinking, I want to see how he's been playing so far this year.
Who's that?
Let's see, before I drop the name. Yeah. Okay. Well, I was saying.
You can say Garrity?
No. Not about trading. About somebody that we could have brought in. About maybe if we went Bellinger. Bellinger's batting 191 right now.
Yeah.
The one thing I was thinking is 2 years, $50 million. I think you could have pulled that off. You could have had him here. Could have had a good fielder and a good hitter. I think in this lineup, he would do more than what he's doing with Chicago. I think he'd have less pressure on him. That's somebody that I was thinking, like, what if they did pull the trigger on Bellinger? Like, you bring in a real hitter, hope that he doesn't get the yips and changes things. And then he's your Castellanos, but who can actually play.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know the rules in baseball as far as a free agent and the ability to trade. I know in basketball, if you sign a free agent.
Yeah, no. I'm saying that's done because I'm saying like that they should have looked into like rumors surrounding it. I'm saying that about actually going after it and really making the play for Bellinger. Like we were, Boris was getting us involved because of Bryce and everything like that. Like maybe we can strum up that the Phillies are going to come in.
Yeah.
Go ups their offer. But if the Phillies actually considered that, I think that would have been great. But it's tough because then you have 2 situations. You have the Castellanos situation, you have the Taiwan situation where you kind of were hoping to bring in better to get out of money. But like when everybody was linking us to Jordan Montgomery, to take over Taiwan's spot, but then you're paying Taiwan $54 million. Same thing with Castellanos. You'd be bringing Bellinger to do what Castellanos does, and you still on the hook for another 40 or 60 million with Castellanos. So
yeah, I think he's got
you
one
would
more
be
year.
hurting yourself at the same time.
Well, my point was you would probably find if you're going to make a trade, and free agents long gone. But I got what you're saying. That's well
saying like in revisionist history.
I know, but I'm looking forward. Like, but I hear you. I'm just saying,
but
what
you wouldn't have to
do. Is this team when you come in with these 25, and Dombrowski knows this. These 25 are not your 25 by September. A lot of times it turns into you need like 40 to 45 players for 162 games. So they're going to make moves. My eye is on the apple of Mike Trout, and if they could do that, they would probably move Castellanos somewhere else and eat all the salary. They wouldn't let him just sit here, but we'll see. They're going to have to do something because they need to infuse some offense into that outfield. But other than that, back to the basic, first 13 games, I will take 7-6. It is a schedule that's kind of friendly over the next week or two as well. Braves lost Spencer Strider for the year. Braves got beat 16-4 today by the New York Mets, who hadn't scored like 16 all year. So, I mean, the NL East could actually be competitive now that the Braves are rolling out Charlie Morton as number one because Max Fried doesn't look – I mean, his
ERA was 18 in his first 2 games.
Yeah, like it's I don't know, man. It's wide open. The Strider thing has made things a lot more even going forward here. So the Phillies out to 7-6. I think, get this offense clicking, keep this starting pitching, which I think will be really good all year, and get the bullpen just kind of tweaked, figured out. Like Hoffman Blue saved the other night, but then came back and saved the next game. Tonight, they were able to hold on, just allowed 1 run. So I think the bullpen's good. I still think it's good, but it hasn't been great yet.
Still not the best in baseball.
No. I agree with you. Yeah, especially when you don't know who your closer is.
Right. I mean, it's still Alvarado is the default.
Yeah, but they used him in the 8th other night, bring it Hoffman in. I do think the addition of Kirk Green, who should be back any day now if he didn't come back up tonight, I didn't see. I think that would be a big deal. But that's the Phillies talk for now. We got 4 sports in this town, so we got to move on to the next one. And let's talk Philadelphia 76ers. Mark, we weren't on there last week, but I went to the OKC game. The return of the chosen one, we'll call, but the process himself, Joel Embiid, back with a new do. But more importantly, he's back just in time for a playoff push. Big win in Miami following the OKC win, which was huge. Then big win over the weekend. Well, actually, 2 of them, let's say. One in Memphis, and then the double OT thriller with Maxey dropping 52 in San Antonio. And all of a sudden, they're on the perch of the 6th seed. I don't think they'll get there. It's going to take a miracle. But
not
Miami
as much of a miracle as you think.
Well, Indiana needs to lose both games.
I think – is it? Oh.
Well, they got they're game ahead of us, and they got Cleveland. Right. And they got Atlanta, and they beat us 2-1 in the season series. So I thought.
Yeah, I know. I could have swore that it was we win both, Atlanta wins both, because then Cleveland loses. Because that would mean I would have.
Oh, yeah, you're looking at the Cleveland aspect of things. That's possible too. Cleveland could drop to 7, but Cleveland, we were 2-2. So I did look that up. We were 2-2 against Cleveland. So then it comes down to Eastern Conference. So yeah, then we're cheering for Cleveland. I think they're game Indiana, and they might have Atlanta.
Yeah.
You might be right. But Miami losing last night means we went out, we get set.
Right.
So that's at least promising. And I'll tell you now with Giannis getting that Achilles, the 7 is so important. I mean, Giannis, they might find a way to play him. Sure. But I'm not that scared of Milwaukee anyway.
Agreed. Between Giannis's uncertainty, they've been atrocious in fourth quarters. Doc Rivers coaching them. It's not even fun. I mean, I can't believe he gets to coach this team and he's just dragging them down with it. I just don't understand any of it.
You know what? Maybe it's the Orlando thing. Orlando lost 2 in a row. Maybe we can catch them out because we play them tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, we're only a game behind Orlando. That might be it. That would be huge if we could get up in the 6th seed.
Yeah,
I mean, the Knicks are tough, but like no Randall.
Right. That changes things because he's out for the.
And OG might be out too. Like he's been. That might be the key there because the Bucks have. I mean, the Magic have us and the Bucks.
Yeah.
So I gotta see here. Eastern Conference record. They're 2 up on us, but they would lose those 2 and we'd be. Yeah, I think that might be the. There might be more paths than I thought. I thought the Indiana was dead, but Cleveland, Orlando, we might have a path. But
I mean, we could be as high as the 5th seed, which is crazy when all is said and done.
That would be, but then I kind of like. I want to be in that 3. I want to be in that range to play Milwaukee in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
What's your take right now on what you've seen with Joe? Because there's people out there saying, he doesn't look, all the way back. Is he good enough? My opinion, he's good enough. He's still fantastic. I think what he'd go 38-11-7 the other night or 38-11-9. Like, I don't care what it is. They're a different team with him, and they look good.
Yeah. I think it's actually translated to that game in San Antonio, but I'll get to that. This team is playing inspired. Look, Embiid, yes, he's coming back a little slow, but we got him back at the right time. And I said this back when it happened. If he came back early enough, this would benefit this team.
I agree.
Going forward, because barring any, knock on wood, I'll just use my head as wood for now. I know my couch or something probably has wood at the bottom. But barring any unforeseen circumstance or something stupid or crazy, and it's still possible because it's happened in the playoffs before, this might be the healthiest he is, as long as his MCL is okay, which so far so good, and he's looking better, and he's gotten his conditioning already up and stuff like that. This is the healthiest Embiid that we'll have going into the playoffs, and this is the most gelled team that I think we'll have going into the playoffs. You don't have Harden, you don't have Simmons, and I think that right there is big. What Embiid and Maxey have created together, I think they work. They work great together. Maxey knows his role, Embiid knows his role. Like, Embiid needs to be the star, but Maxey is the guy who lifts him up, pushes him up, and you see a personality change with Embiid. I don't think you're going to see those game 7, like the game 7 in Boston last year. I don't think you're going to see that again. You're not going to see Harden just give up, because when Harden gave up, Embiid gave up. Like, you could just tell the air was taken out of the ball. Maxey doesn't have that in him. That's not in his bag. He is as real as it gets as a basketball player. I really think he puts his blood, sweat, and tears, heart on the line, everything on the line. And he's got a big contract that he's playing for. And he's not a guy like that, but I'm just saying, like, he can really, he can earn that $200 million this year, which is insane to think about. But I'll tell you, that double overtime game against San Antonio, especially in that second overtime, the defense was moving, and and here's what I love about Nick Nurse, which is the antithesis of Doc Rivers. Nick Nurse trusts young guys. Is he forced to play the young guys right now, especially when Embiid's out and Harris is out? For certain. But you saw that San Antonio got tired and Sixers kept moving. They were moving around on defense. And they got so many steals. You could see, like, when Maxey made that lay-in to tie the game to bring it to overtime, you could see that obviously the mood changed for San Antonio. But they held strong in that first overtime. But in the second overtime, they lost it. The Sixers willed them to death. The Sixers were just getting in front of every ball. They were getting in front of every passing lane. And I think if they can translate that defense, especially when Embiid's on the floor, I think it's going to do a lot of things for this team moving forward. I think you're going to see a lot better defense. I think they're all getting comfortable and playing with each other. And you see guys like Oubre, and Oubre's not young, but like KJ Martin step up, Ricky Council step up. He was very clutch in that San Antonio game. Again, San Antonio, we know they stink. Like, we get it, but they have women.
Well, but they got 1B. Like, they're good.
Right. But they balled that night, and they kept tough, because 2 or 3 huge calls went against them that were BS, and they still overcame it. And it's a young team, and Nick Nurse's tutelage is just riding them through. I'm so excited to see what Nick Nurse can do with this team in the playoffs, because if he can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, regardless of who they have to play to get there, it just shows what an indictment that between Brett Brown, Doc Rivers, James Harden, and Ben Simmons was to Joel Embiid and this team.
You hit it on the nose. Nick Nurse is a just absolute breath of fresh air for this team. He's an absolute, like, the annex on the sideline, I get, because, he just cares. He's trying to win games.
They all do it.
And they all do it. And he did it before, in Toronto, and it would drive us up a wall. But, I like it now because I know he's just caring for his team, and he's out there trying to win basketball games, right? So I think I would love to see how he could coach in a 7-game series. I would, and I'm with you. Like, I gotta get there. And I think in the 7th spot, you'll obviously have 2 chances to get there. And I think they will get to 1, but we need hopefully to get up into the 6 or 5, like you said. The addition of Joe, the key to getting back, and I'm with you. Like, you just needed it for him to work his win back, but to play with these guys, he didn't even know who Cam Payne was. I mean, of course he knew who he was just from, but Buddy Hield, he hadn't played a second with those guys because they all came on the roster after he got hurt. So it's very important for them to kind of find this period of gelling together, and I think they're finding it, like you said. And that game without him, to win that game, I mean, they were down. They went up a little early, then they were down, and to hold on and win that game, that's going to do a lot for their camaraderie. So this is big. Easy win against Detroit the other night. They didn't have to press on the button or the gas any. Orlando tomorrow's huge. It's huge. It's huge for a lot of reasons, but you might be able to rest guys on Sunday. We'll see, because Sunday's what? Is it Brooklyn?
I believe so.
It's a softer matchup, whoever it is, and I felt like it might have been them. If you double check that, it's under 5.
Yeah, it's Brooklyn. It's Brooklyn
at home. Cool. But yeah, man, we will see. It's I'm excited for this run simply because there's no pressure right now. What are they going to do when they're not the favorite? They're not looked at as, but they're looked at as the dogs. Remember when the Eagles won the World Series? All right, the Super Bowl? Dogs.
Right.
When the Phillies won, I mean, they weren't awfully thought of as like a powerhouse, but they won. Like, let's give these Sixers a chance. 7 seed, 6 seed, they got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything lines up nicely for them. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm extremely excited for this run. I mean, look, I'm hopelessly devoted to this Sixers team. I'm hopelessly devoted to the process. Like, that's just, I'm really dying by it. And now, like, in the way that the circumstances are, like, it almost seems like they would do it in a year where Embiid year, and like, it's not saying that they are going to win it, but like, this is the year where, but it's not a fluke thing. They have the coach. They
also have the deepest team I've ever seen them have.
Yes.
Maybe not the most talented because of the other players that they've had in the star power roles, but I mean, Kyle Lowry, now that adding him, you get a lot out of the guys like Paul Reed, like you've already said, Oubre.
I loved his signing from the moment they did it. I remember in like July being like, wow, haven't
it was a prove it
yet, and I think he could be a cog going forward. Like, I think he's a guy you could bring back.
And then I read an article. The Sixers technically will have 1 player on their roster after this offseason. I mean, Reed, I guess you got to.
Reed is technically, well, I think
it's a team option.
If they make it to the second round, I think it becomes a fully guaranteed contract.
You certainly might too. Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you. But they're going to sign Maxey. But they really could go into this offseason with about 3 players and $50 million in the bag. Like, I think right now, if they go in with Reed and Embiid, they might have 66 or 68. And that's without the cap. Like, that's this year's cap. It might move a little bit. So it's going to be an interesting team next year. They have some options. They can bring some guys back, team options. But it's really they're going to look a lot different come next year. But hopefully some of these guys like Oubre are on a prove-it deal where we do actually bring him back.
Well, the one thing that I was hearing is, everyone right now has the Sixers linked to Paul George.
Oh, Paul George. Yep.
But if they can't do that, there's not a lot of options. Now, I did see something today that Donovan Mitchell, that Cleveland might have to make a choice about Donovan Mitchell, and they might have to trade him off. So that might be somewhere that you look to. Because if you really don't bring in a star, they're just going to they're going to give out like a bunch of $15 million a year contracts to good players, not great players. And you're not going to have any stars around Maxey and Embiid. And you're just going to kind of have a little upgraded version of this year's team.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how things play out. But, in the NBA, it gets weird. Stars shake out. Like, that's why this whole Mitchell thing coming about, or stars usually, not everybody that you see, like you go, oh, this guy's not available, and then they become available just in a weird way. So
I agree. I mean, yeah, you and George isn't even available yet. It's a case he has to opt out, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a sign and trade or something like that.
But they assume he's going to, because it's a chance for him he's going to try and make one of those $200 million deals now while he's this age. So, but it's exciting news for the Sixers. Just the simple fact is we got him back, and we get to, we got hope. But now let's talk about a team that may not have much hope, and that's the Philadelphia Flyers, who absolutely submarined, who melted down, as we put in the title here, over the past 2 weeks. 7 straight losses. They did win tonight against the Rangers, almost in one of those, like, why? Like, at this point, like, and not only did they lose, I mean, they were down 6-0 to the Canadiens the other night. I think they lost 9-2.
Right.
9-3. They lost so bad. And they lost to bad teams. They lost to Chicago Blackhawks, who were terrible. They lost to, obviously, Columbus, who we just talked about. They lost to Montreal twice. They've been bad, and it's been just an absolute – like, it's been bad goalie. It's been bad defense, bad offense. Tortorella's been trying to mix in the captain. Obviously, we've lost some pieces to injury and to other things, but it put a sour taste on the season that was really fun for 80% of it.
I think we both kind of nailed this on the head. They were going to hang in there. They were going to –
at the beginning of the season, we said that. Yep.
Yeah. They were going to be consistent. They were going to hang around, but they just weren't going to have enough to make it. But I didn't think it would just all fall out to, an 8-game losing streak when you were actually still – your calculations, you were still in it. Like, I didn't see that. I just had they would just win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And but they've had some issues. They've, Erson, you got to give him, and Tortorella's given him a lot of credit. Nobody expected him, coming into the season, they were thinking maybe he would make 20 starts and that would be it. But clearly they had to rely on him a lot more. They brought in the Russian, but it's, just like too little, too late. And it's almost like one of those things, the whole, what's his face? Tortorella's shtick is he gets in early, he weeds out the team, he figures out who can play, who can't. People play for him, and then it wears out pretty quick, and it dies. Yep. Now, I saw a report today. I don't know if it's a full report, but they were saying that Tortorella is safe for this year. And I almost think it should be. I mean, he kind of went below the belt a couple, throw his team under the bus, but I guess you can take that.
Because he's been known to.
He's done it before. This is not out of the ordinary.
No, he normally tries to. He normally will not. He'll do some things that you think are throwing the team under the bus, but more than likely he's trying to take the blame himself. I hear you. He's a little bit.
Weeks ago, I feel like he was saying, "Well, we don't have hockey players out there. We don't have hockey players out there."
But he's trying to fire them up through the media. Like, I don't know if he's throwing. Yeah, he wears people. I give you that. He wears teams down over time. Right. But someone, I forget who it was. I think it was John Kincaid on the morning show. because he had him down in Atlanta and then followed him to Tampa.
Sure.
And he's like, every year he gets teams to play over their head. He stays the course. He makes it 4 years with every, and eventually, the teams make a decision on him. But he was put in a way that he doesn't wear out his welcome, and he doesn't throw his players on the bus. But more than likely, what happens is time just comes up on his.
Yeah,
we'll see. I'm with you though. He is a. I'd love to go back and look at this when it's all said and done, when his time's over, of how he worked with this team, because they definitely played over their heads this year.
They did.
Next year's going to be the year that we expect a bigger movement.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be interested to see if they get some, I don't know if he'll come over next year or not, but if the Russian kid can come over, that would be.
Well, and the goalie situation is the big thing. I don't think we may never see Carter Hart again. And they were prepared for that.
Yeah.
They when I say prepared, they
knew something was coming around the corner.
And I read some things that when they were trying to trade him at the deadline, they were very clear to teams this was coming. You're going to take the risk if you want to try. Because I never understood the noise at the deadline. Why would you even put him on the? You get it now, but.
Yep.
All right, that's Flyers talk. We got one more team in town, and Marc, it's coming up soon. Where are we? A week and a half away from the NFL draft?
Two
and a half weeks. About 2 weeks to this day.
Exactly 2 weeks. 2 weeks today.
Yeah, and it's still a lot of noise coming out what the Eagles will do in the NFL draft. We've seen all the little pieces, and lately we saw the Reddick trade, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, and now we're looking at what does this team need the most? And would they actually stand put and draft, what is it, 22?
22.
Yeah. All signs point to them still looking at D-back as a priority. And I think that's the right position to likely address based upon the age of both Slay and Bradbury. Avonte Maddox is back in the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got him.
We haven't gotten the numbers on that. I don't think there's been numbers given out on that, but there's
I haven't seen it either, but they did cut him because he was making too much, and then they were able to bring him back. But again, I think in that role, you're looking at him slot corner, but maybe safety. There's still talks out there, and I don't know how this would happen, but there's still talks about Patrick Surtain and what's the safety out in Denver?
Justin Simmons.
I don't know. I mean, would I take that over the pick 22? No doubt about it, because I'd take a proven commodity over, and they're both young enough. But where do you think they land in this draft? Because right now, they got a lot of different options. Kool-Aid, like there are options out there, and I think this draft is deep in the D-back world.
There is. So I think a lot of people are saying that they wouldn't be surprised if they trade up. It just seems like Howie never sits still. He always
never.
I agree. Backer moves up. This is a year I think you move up because there are two corners. If they are going to go corner, which I believe that they should do, because I don't see how the Surtain thing comes to fruition. Denver would be stupid to let look, and the Eagles have probably already knocked on that door. One, with Vic Fangio being there. Two, they wanted him over Devontae. They wanted J.C. Horn over Devontae. And it's no offense over Devontae Smith, but they love those corners in 2021. So with that being said, there's a couple good corners. If they do move up, there's Quinion Mitchell. The only thing
I know
worries
I think
me
they
about
love
that,
him.
what?
Yeah. I think they love him, but I've seen him as high as 11. He's raising.
Yeah, the one thing you wonder and worry about, it looks like he's got all the talent. No, nothing bad, but just saying
no. I froze for a second. I said, because I froze.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I thought you were going to say I was dropping news. No. Just at the talent pool that he went against, there is concerns. But they also said he had a really good showing at the Senior Bowl, and he locked down, top talent there. Him and I think probably a more attainable corner would be Terrion Arnold from Alabama.
Yeah.
I think that would be more reasonable, probably into that 16, 17 range. If you can get up there somehow. They have a couple fives. They have 2 2s. So they could make something work. I would love to really have both 2s, but if they can get a stud corner, I think you have to entertain that. I don't want to see them trading up for a tackle because the 3 positions of need / that they're going to look at are corner, offensive line, and D end.
Yep.
But D end is like they're always going to look that route. Tackles, they're always going to look that route. I think tackle is more realistic than D end. There's a couple guys there, but like in the grand scheme of things, I really want a quarterback because they need playmakers.
Yeah, and I still like Cooper DeJean in that mix as well.
Yeah.
And Nate Wiggins is probably a natural spot for 22 out of Clemson.
He's like a Trent McDuffie type of pick.
Yeah.
Turns out he's a pretty good corner for Kansas City.
Yeah. Oh, very good corner. We're with you. Like, keep on going, Phillies, because we talked about earlier, a 7-6 with Strider going out, playing a little better ball than they have in the past 2 years early in the season. I think a lot of that is attributed to health. With Harper intact, we said he was hurt last year. Ranger intact. We can keep this going. They just need to fix a few, and fix is a strong word. They just need to get going.
But that was my thing when we talked about at the beginning of the season. They not being consistent. Like if they could be consistent, everything would be fine. I think they should be 9-4. I think they've lost 2 games this past week. They should have been 6-0 on that road trip. Now I know it's asking a lot, but
asking a lot, but they didn't hit in those 2 games.
But they didn't hit, right? But it's just like you hit just a little bit. You were in both of those games.
My worry is they're still trying to bash people to wins, and that'll work because this team's good enough. Listen, they are making the playoffs. They are making the playoffs. Like they're too talented, too good.
And there's not, especially with the way that the East is this year. The Central doesn't have anybody. They're going to be fighting with the teams in the West for a wild card spot, if anything.
Yeah, and it is funny. Bryce does need to start hitting. I got these double plays are killing, but he absolutely obliterated a ball today in the first inning. Exit velo at 110. It just found a glove in a double play. It's
been happening to him a lot this year. I mean, he's
won 1 game single-handed, right?
Right.
The 3 home run game. So it has. He'll get going. I'm not worried about him, but it would be nice if he gets going a little sooner than later. I'm with you. Yeah, because I can live with some of the faults that they have because a Harper, a Turner, they can carry you for stretches here. They really can. But back to the Eagles. Yeah, I said Kool-Aid earlier only because McKinstry's name did come up because he's big and physical. I've seen him more at the end of the first round.
Yeah,
I'd love if you could find a way to maybe if you did somehow not go cornerback at 22 and he's there at 30, 31 at the end of the night and move up one of your seconds and future picks to get there.
Yeah,
that would be a perfect scenario for me. But otherwise, I like what you're talking about. If you could get the kid from Toledo, the other kid from Alabama, or Cooper DeJean, I think you're really in a good spot with the Eagles. Now, what I'm looking at, a handful of things. I think the offensive line is intact. It's just you need depth, right?
Right.
Like you could maybe find a starting guard over Jack Steen, but other than that, maybe you don't. But you got to get some depth because right now you're pretty much Dickerson, Juergens, the 2 tackles, Lane, and you just signed, to a big deal. So you're 4 solid,
right? I think they're solid right now. You move Juergens over in the center, hope that he can, that's Jason Kelsey wanted him because that's because that's who he said could play like him.
Yeah, and he does.
But you got the tackles. They're both on. Like, I think you're going to get more years out of Lane Johnson than believe because there's some people around that are saying he wants 3 more years. Like, he wants to play for 3 more years and he could do it. You got Mailata for 3 years, maybe 4 years because of that deal that he just signed. They found good guards. Isaac Seumalo was a 3rd or a 5th round pick? Like, they are very good at addressing offensive line later in the draft. Now, Tyler Steen, we don't know yet. Not doing much.
Oh, I said Tyler. I said Jack. Yeah, Tyler. Yeah.
But Tyler Steen, like I think, but you never know. He could turn out to be a guy. Like you're not depending on him for tackle. You're depending on him for. Guard. So I think they can find guards, interior linemen later in the draft. That's why I'm not. I know they always want to replenish at the tackle, but like we have bigger needs, and it's not always about need because I know Howie always tries to fill in the holes. Yeah. And then hopes to find a better one in the draft, but we really need to get a top of the line defensive back. And honestly, what would be nice is, like Kool-Aid McKinstry and Cooper DeJean. I've seen him all over the place, DeJean.
I have.
He might fall back, and maybe the Eagles are able to trade back and recoup a, pick and take one of those guys or something like that too, and that would work out good.
Yeah, my dream scenario actually is Jared Verse dropping all the way there, the DM from Florida State. Mm-hmm. We already got Josh Sweat from Florida State.
Surprise, a Florida State guy.
But listen, 8th most pressures in all of college football, a guy that's projected top 10, but is dropping on some boards. Like if he's there at 21, 22, that's where I would go and then hopefully move up for a cornerback. But yeah, to Star Wars point, I was so happy for Stott because the Stott we know is a guy that just makes solid, productive contact most times. He's been off all season. And that came right after a drop ball in right field that Nick Castellanos hit and the two fielders collided. Right away, I say to my sons, payback. Like when you drop a ball, you got to make them pay. And
I knew Castellanos was scoring once that ball hit the ground.
Yep. Knew. But how good, like tonight, to see a home run out of Bohm, his first of the year, Stop his first of the year. Those were huge. And Bohm was to center field. So, yeah, both them, those were huge. People have been telling me, did we talk about this? We might have, but some people think that Bohm could get 30. I don't think he's ever going to get 30.
I've heard that too. I don't think so. People are, and here's the thing, he's playing for his job, and because like not I say that tongue in cheek.
No, I know what you're saying.
Aiden Miller is a year or two behind.
And Bo's 26 or 27 now, so it's like it's proven years. Like it's coming up. But I still think he's 24, 25. We could get. I think he had 20 last year.
Maybe.
He can get there.
Right, he can get there. I still haven't seen consistent enough from him. And everyone was saying he's going to be a breakout player. He's going to be in contention for MVP. I don't see it. I want to see it. I don't see it. That he's going to have that good of numbers. That he's going to be, a better hitting third baseman than like Austin Riley or something like that. I've heard some crazy things. I hope I'm wrong. I just don't see it.
All right, back to NFL. One more quick thing for you. Yeah. How many quarterbacks go in the top 10?
Let's see. You got. Why am I blanking for a second? Oh, Caleb Williams,
Drake May,
JJ McCarthy, Jaden Daniels. That's 4. What did you say in the first round or top 10?
Top 10. I think that's where we go. We get those 4 in the top. I think McCarthy. I don't think he's great, but I do think
there's a love affair.
And there's need, right? And quarterbacks will rise. And I think he's that riser this year, like Trey Lance was a few years back. I think we see 4. I have heard some teams think the Bears might not go Caleb, but I think they're set. I've heard their GM talk. They're set.
There's no way. That situation is weird just because of the way the way that Caleb Williams is, but I don't.
He is odd.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is with him though, like I could understand like, oh, I don't want to go to what's a bad situation team right now?
Arizona.
Like Arizona. I'm just trying to think like Chicago is a storied franchise and like they have talent and you saw that. Like why would you make a stink about going to Chicago? Because there was a lot of talk that he was having issues with Chicago. Now I know some of that's mutter, some of that comes from somewhere, but like Chicago has a good setup. Like they have 2 top 10 picks this year. Like you should be like, yes, please, Chicago.
Yes.
Like,
well,
it's
the
storied franchise. It's the Chicago Bears. Like there's,
they were competitive at the end of the year last year and made like they upset Detroit. I want to say like they played some good football at the end of the year.
I mean, they have the first overall pick because Carolina is stupid.
Yep.
Like, because they still have the 9th pick. Anyway, it's just it's nuts to think that like DJ Moore. I feel like they got somebody. They brought in another receiver, didn't they?
They did.
So they are. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
It's like a second tier, but he's good. It'll come to me. It'll come.
I know. I'm trying.
It wasn't at first I thought it was what's his name? Ridley.
Oh, Keenan Allen.
Keenan. Yep.
Allen.
And I'm calling him second tier.
Yeah,
I'm only calling him second tier because he's in his low 30s. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. No, I don't think of Keenan Allen as the number one just because he can't stay on the field. I mean, you talk your number ones are AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. Like that's when I think of number one. Keenan Allen is clearly that second tier, but that's huge. Like for being a rookie quarterback to walk into DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and who's there? Cole Kmet, who's a decent tight end.
Yeah, very decent. Yep.
I'm trying to think.
And now you got DeAndre Swift.
Swift.
Yeah.
And who was the other running back? Mooney, but no, Mooney's I think in Atlanta now.
Oh yeah, no, he did go. You're right.
But there was another. They have another running back, young running back, not David Montgomery, but
no, they got the kid.
Was it Roscoe?
Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert.
And they got
to walk into, and they could
Roshan Johnson, the Texas backup to Bijan.
Yeah,
Robinson, who I think is talented. So they're
and they could fall into a Roma Duzier or whatever. Like they could. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be in that scenario? That's insane.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be fun because there's like outside those four, I think they go in the top 10. Yeah. There's gonna be some little spots. We don't know what we're gonna see with Michael Penix or Bo Nix yet. But there's other talks that we could see maybe 6 in the first round, which is it's been a while since we've seen one of those drafts.
I think cracks the first round. It's really whether Bo Nix, anyone's in on Bo Nix or not. That's going to be. But a name for the Eagles to watch: Spencer Rattler, late round.
I'm with you. I do like Rattler, but after you got Kenny Pickett, I don't know that you do anything for the quarterback.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. The Eagles are big, they think they're a quarterback factory. Yeah, I get it. But I think with the Pickett thing, I think you don't really have a spot for a third quarterback. You're not going to roster him on game day.
Right.
But we'll see. I mean, if it's 6th, 7th round and you could get away with practice squad, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, brother. Well, that wraps up an hour-long action-packed show of all 4 sports in town. Thanks for checking in tonight. Many of you getting us comments, following. Thank you so much. We are part of the Heat Ratio Sports Network. I'm Dave Gleckner. That's Marc Tomasini. We are going to be back next week, getting the preview even closer for the Eagles draft, following up on how the Phillies did. Awesome series with Pittsburgh this weekend, 4-gamer, and then I think who is it? Detroit coming into town or Colorado? Double check here. It's like a lesser team, I remember, but Colorado coming into town, and then the White Sox. So we got some
little stretch there where they should play 67% ball.
Those are 2 worst teams in baseball. Someone will try and argue with me the A's are worse. No, those 2 are worse. I think the A's might find a way to muster 60 wins this year. Those 2, we'll see. But that's it for tonight, April 11th. We'll be back next week. With all the Philly sports talk you need with 4th and Go, Philly 4 for 4, so much more. Until then, we'll talk to you.